Hey everybody, this is Chris from Six Wins. This is Matt. We're here to talk about the number 1 seed Leonardo DiCaprio versus the number 16 seed Mark Wahlberg in the best male actor bracket. Now, we've done a lot of work. We went out to 12 Oaks Mall. We've polled you on Twitter and Instagram, and the results are in. What do you think? You got any thoughts about this one?
Yeah, my own thoughts before we talk about like what we saw with people voting because we went out to the mall and I think we were a little bit surprised. But obviously, this is the 116. Leo has just been in, a lot of very popular movies. He finally did get that Oscar, and as I don't have anything against Mark Wahlberg, but I would go Leo just because I really did like Inception. That was one movie that I saw in theaters and really liked Leo in. He's been in other stuff. I don't see a lot of crime movies like The Departed and things like that. But what about you? What were you thinking?
Yeah, The Departed's great. So my vote was Leo too, and I'll let you explain what we saw when we went to the mall to talk to people in person. The online polls were pretty much a landslide, and that's what I thought it was going to be, and that's what I thought when I first looked at that. Leo versus Wahlberg, I was like, it's a 1 seed versus 16 seed. It's always going to be a landslide. You're talking Leo from the early 90s with like Romeo and Juliet, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Titanic. And then he just had banger after banger after banger with like Catch Me If You Can, Wolf of Wall Street, Inception, Shutter Island, all these movies. But then I thought, Wahlberg has been doing it for just as long, dating way back to Boogie Nights and beyond. But here's one area where Wahlberg has Leo beat: comedy.
I think you say music.
Oh, yeah, Leo, let's see your Marky Mark. Let's see you rap.
Comedy, you gotta go for it.
Right, so we're talking Other Guys.
Yeah.
Wahlberg killed it. Talking Ted 2.
Right.
Wahlberg killed it.
Yeah.
And that new like Me Time movie on Netflix, not bad. Pretty funny. And then you got Daddy's Home 2. And let's be honest, like, Wahlberg was an afterthought when we saw my man John Cena roll through. But yeah, that's my take. And what did you notice when we went to the mall to talk to people?
So I think we both thought it was gonna be a landslide, and like you said, the Twitter and Instagram polls kind of echoed our thoughts, and Leo definitely had more votes there. And I guess what we talked about right before we went to the mall is I kind of brought up like, we think this is gonna be a landslide, but like don't underestimate haters because Leo and some of our other names are gonna be really popular, and for whatever reason, you just might run into people that they don't like Mark Wahlberg, but they don't want Leo to win. And so I was wondering if we'd run into that. When you bring up that Wahlberg does comedy better and has been in comedy, you can also consider that like there are people out there that just prefer like comedy movies, don't watch a lot of dramas. And so they've seen Mark Wahlberg in the Teds, the other guys, and things like that. And they'd be like, yeah, I really liked Wahlberg, and I don't really watch Leo movies. Those aren't my kind of style. So I think that those two things combined might have been what we saw because it was a little surprising. We were going to see who got the 10 votes first as we were like just interviewing some random people in the mall.
And some people did not want to participate. Some people,
of course,
we would approach because we had a notebook to keep track of the votes, but approach anyone with a notebook and they think you're selling them some stuff and they'll scoot out quicker than you could say Wahlberg.
It's not my best idea to carry a notebook and look like a guy who's about to take down their email address and like social security number. But yeah, we were getting Wahlberg votes, and there was a point where it was at like 7-7.
Yeah.
We saw quite a few Wahlbergs, and like that, like no hesitation. People like they thought about it, just Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And didn't really give an explanation. One of my favorites was one guy we asked, we were like Leo or Wahlberg, and he was like, Wahlberg couldn't act if you hit him over the head with something.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that was pretty funny. We obviously had, I think, stronger opinions on not Wahlberg, but I think we did run into the thing where like Wahlberg because of comedy and possibly because people are just like maybe oversaturated with Leo when Wahlberg.
Yeah, and I saw some comments on social media where people were like, Leo, how is this even a debate? Like, how is this even a question? Like, so it seemed pretty polarizing. And then one thought I had on Wahlberg was he's got a bigger social media presence. I don't know if you follow him on the social, but he's one of them like kind of Dwayne the Rock Johnson or David Goggins, where he's like, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm pushing, I'm bench pressing and I'm doing push-ups. It's my best Wahlberg impression, but he's very, very active in the social media. And I'll give it to the guy. Like, I don't know how often Leo posts on there, but like with social media being such a big thing, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would venture to guess Wahlberg has more followers on your like Instagrams and Twitter. I don't know if they're both on Twitter, but so that's the thing too. And Wahlberg, he's got to be pushing 50 in his 50s, and he's still shredded.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Just that he'd be the kind of guy, and Leo would be the kind of guy that's very hands off with that stuff and just like the craft.
Right. So we got about 10 seconds, not to interject, but can you reveal who won for our viewers who haven't looked at the bracket?
Yeah, so as we kind of hinted at, the online polls, pretty big landslide for Leo, and Leo did sneak it out with the public mall opinion. So Leo's moving on to the second round as expected. We'll see how his second round matchup goes.
Leo!